I was living in a small town in the northern United States, which I'll call Falling Creek. Population around 3,000, pine forests on every side, and just outside town, an old road called Miller Road that dead ends at an abandoned house. Locals called that house the Widow House. The story begins in October of 2018, when I'd just finished college and was job hunting. Money was tight, so when I heard the town's historical society was looking for part-time help to inventory some of the old houses, I took it. The job was simple: go inside, take photographs, catalog the items and file a report. The first day I drove down Miller Road, the sun was almost gone. The trees on either side leaned in so close it felt like driving through a tunnel. I saw the house from a distance, white paint once, now faded to grey. The windows were dark, except one, the corner window on the second floor, where the curtain seemed to shift. I told myself it was the wind. I got out, walked to the door. The lock was already broken. The Historical Society had told me as much. I pushed it open and stepped inside, flashlight on. Inside, it was like time had stopped. Dust-covered furniture, faded photographs on the walls, a piano with a few broken keys. The air smelled of damp wood and old paper, but underneath that was another smell, one I couldn't place at the time. I photographed the first room and started taking notes. Everything seemed normal. Then I reached the staircase. I stood at the bottom and looked up, darkness. But it seemed to me someone was standing in the upstairs hallway. I raised the flashlight. Nothing there. Just shadow, hello. My own voice came out shaky. No one answered. I told myself I didn't need to go further on the first day. I'd finish the ground floor and leave. Then from the piano a sound. A single key ting. I turned. No one was near it. But one key was still trembling, as if someone had just touched it. I didn't stay any longer that day. I got in my car and drove straight home. The following week, I went to the Historical Society's office to ask about the house's history. The old archivist, Mrs. Hanson, looked at me over her glasses and said, "You went to the Widow House." I nodded. She pulled out an old file. The house was built in 1927 for a wealthy timber merchant and his wife. But in 1941, the merchant died, an accident at the sawmill. His wife, Elena, stayed on alone in the house. Neighbors said she stood at the upstairs window every night, looking down the road, as if waiting for her husband to come home. In 1953, Elena disappeared. No one ever saw her again. The house has stood empty ever since. Some say Mrs. Hanson whispered she's still there. Still standing at that window, waiting. A cold current ran down my spine. I couldn't quit, I needed the money. So I went back, this time in daylight, and brought my friend David along. We went upstairs this time. Walking down the hallway, we reached the corner room on the right, the one with the window where I'd seen the curtain move. We pushed the door open. A bed, a dressing table, and in front of the window, a rocking chair. The chair was slowly rocking on its own. "Wind," David said, but his voice shook too. The window was shut. I walked to the dressing table. An old mirror sat under a layer of dust. I saw my own reflection, and behind it, near the doorway, a shadow. I spun around. Nothing there. I looked back at the mirror. The shadow was still there, slowly moving closer. "David," my voice caught in my throat. Pause, 5 to 7 seconds. David grabbed my shoulder and shook me. "What's wrong?" I looked at the mirror again. The shadow was gone. Neither of us said much after that. We took our photos quickly, finished the list, and left. On the drive back, David suddenly hit the brakes. "What is it?" I asked. He pointed ahead. In the middle of the road, through the fog, stood the shape of a woman. White dress, her face unclear. We both sat frozen. The shape slowly turned its head toward us. Pause, 4 seconds, then all at once, it dissolved into the fog. David turned the car around and took another route home. Neither of us spoke the rest of the way. That night before I went to sleep, a message came through on my phone. An unknown number. It read, "She is still waiting. Don't go to the window again." I called the number back. It didn't ring, it just said, "This number is not in service." The next morning, I called the Historical Society and told them I couldn't finish the job. Mrs. Hanson didn't ask any questions. She just said, "I understand." Others have quit the same way before. About a year later, I left Falling Creek for another town. But sometimes, deep in the night in my sleep, I still hear the sound of that rocking chair creak, creak. And one dream keeps returning. I'm standing on Miller Road in front of the house. I look up at the second floor window. Alina is standing there, this time looking straight at me. Her lips are moving as if she's saying something. But I can't hear the words. I only understand she's still waiting. For someone else now. Maybe for the next person who drives down Miller Road. If you ever find yourself in a town called Falling Creek and you see a sign for Miller Road, keep driving. Don't look back.